Okay, the last poem that you have in your prescribed text is Water by Chellapalli Swaruparani. Chellapalli Swaruparani, a poetess from Andhra, a Telugu poet. She is supposed to be a Dalit poet, and she writes about the discrimination by the society for the sake of the very, very basic and basic necessity and more essential part of human life, that is water. The poem is translated, it is a translated work. So she has basically written all these things in Telugu, and the poem here, it talks about how the society discriminates between the castes, and how people are even they are deprived of something very important, the very source of life, that is water. So here she talks, she has experience, she has seen, she has experienced many things herself, and that comes out in the form of a poem. So she just tries to tell what are the difficulties, what are the problems that are faced by the people of that caste, See, let us understand few things before we go into this poem. It talks about the fifth clan of the society. Like we had the 4 clans, the 4 categories, and the 5th clan comes as the Dalits, or they are the Harijans. So these Dalits were considered, let me be very, very clear in my grammar, they were considered as untouchables. It no longer exists. No longer exists at all, but they were considered as untouchables, and they were not supposed to come near the other 4 categories like the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas and the Shudras. They were not supposed to even touch them, they were not even supposed to meet them, or that was considered as something inhumane. So they were not at all allowed into the villages properly. So that was the scene, that was the scenario years ago. But now all this caste system has been, and it has gone off, it no more exists. But still, in certain places, in the remote and the most remote villages, probably this kind of caste system still exists, and that is why poetesses like Swaruparani have been forced to take up this topic as the Dalit poetry. And they are giving us lot of information about the difficulties faced by the Dalits. So here in this poem, she talks about how water has seen all these fights, wars and discriminations. So she takes water as one media that has witnessed everything from ages. From ages, it is seeing all the discrimination, all the fights and all the fights for justice. So she begins the poem and she says, water knows, similar to how water knows the ground's incline, how water just rushes and gushes towards the pit or towards the downward movement, how it just goes towards the lower inclination. Similarly, it knows that this fight of generations old, it can never end at all. It knows generations old strife between the village and the Vada. Vada is a community of the Dalits. There has always been a fight between the villagers and the belongers of the people of the Vada. So this fight, it has seen the inclination and it moves towards that, and it has also seen that there are generation old strifes between Vada and village. From years they have been fighting. It also knows that there is dampness near the well, and this dampness will never ever die at all. The dampness near the well, because people keep taking water from the well, and this one can never dry at all, because one after the other, water is taken from the well, and when water is taken, naturally the space over there, it becomes damp, and one after the other the people are fetching water, therefore it has no chance to dry at all. So the water knows that this dampness, it never dies, it can never disappear from the well. Similarly, it also knows that untouchability can never disappear. Just like how near the well, the space, the mud and everything is wet. Similarly, the untouchability also, it can never disappear at all. It can never go away from the society. She talks about the differences in the race. It has seen lots of differences in the race. She gives two examples of Samaritan woman and Jesus Christ, Jesus the Jew and the Samaritan woman. Samaritan is another caste of the Jewish community. The Jews are one community and the Samaritans are the different community, wherein the Jews are considered to be of higher class and the Samaritans are of slightly lower class. It seems the Bible stories say that Jesus had, he was feeling very thirsty. He just wanted to show people that there is no caste and all those things. Similar to how other preachers, other God-men and everybody else has preached that the blood, the color of the blood that runs in everybody's body is red alone. So even he wanted to prove that there is no kind of discrimination according to the race. So he requests the Samaritan woman to give him water. And very reluctantly, this woman, she's scared because she knows that she is giving it to one great person called Jesus. And what would happen to her? The whole night, it seems, she gives water to him. From her pot, she pours water and Jesus takes the pot and he drinks water. The whole night, this woman did not sleep. She could not sleep because she thought that she had committed a crime. She thought that this crime of her was unforgivable. So that also water has seen. From those ages, water has seen the difference in race between the Samaritan woman and even in the subcaste. Even in the subcaste, there is a difference between the leather and the spool. Spool is the, people who work with spindles, the weavers. And leather are the cobblers, the weavers and the cobblers. There's a lot of difference in the subcaste. So the poetess here, she tries to say, not only the caste, but even in the subcaste, there is a lot of difference. And only one person or one thing that has stood as a witness for all these differences is water. So she says all these differences is known to water. She goes again saying that water also knows the agony of the Panchama Varna. Panchama Varna, as I told you, the Dalits. How painful it was for them to wait near the well for a person to come to fetch water from the well and pour it into their pots. See, the Panchama Varnas, the Dalits were not allowed to touch the water by themselves. In those days, there were no bore wells at all. So they had to fetch water from the well. And if there were no other people at all to give them water, they had to wait till the first person appears there. It could be a Brahmin, it could be a Kshatriya, it could be a Vaishya or even a Shudra. Any one of them, at least even till a Shudra comes. So the Panchama Varna, the person belonging to the Panchama Varna was considered more degradable than the Shudra himself. So he had to wait at least till that Shudra comes and then pours water into his empty bucket or empty pot. So that was the agony. Though he was thirsty, he could not drink water. Though he was next to the well, he could not fetch the water. He had to wait in pain for a person to give him water. So he waits all day near the well to take water. So she says that water has witnessed all these things. Water has seen the difference in the caste, subcaste and race. She continues saying that only water has understood the humiliation of a girl from Wada. Wada, again, the community where the Dalits live. The group, the association of the Dalits. Only that girl, she understands the agony, the humiliation that has been, that she is forced to face. Because I have just skipped here, in the poem it says that the person, he who pours water on her, has touched her everywhere, all around and has fallen on her. So it is like a kind of physical abuse by a man because of his lust. He wants to satisfy his lust and therefore he utilizes this Vada girl, but to the eyes of the society he acts as a pure man and he pours water on her and he acts as if he is very pure. And this one is considered as a very cheap person, cheap individual. She says, she continues, it was the right act done by Karmachedu Suvarthamma, who had stood as a witness between the fight of boys, and she wanted to take some water. She from the pond, she comes there and she tries to dip her pot, but she was thrown away. She was literally hit and thrown away by the villagers, saying that she was not supposed to touch the water, which would become dirty. So she had all the right. She fought. She in fact raised her voice and raised her hand against the villagers. She wanted to know what wrong she has done, because she wanted to give water to a person who was badly injured. So the poetess here, she says, everything what this Suvarthamma did, she was right in doing that. Because she continues, water is the witness to the centuries of social injustice. It's not just these things, but centuries of social injustice water has seen. And she painfully, she says, whenever I see water, I remember my people in the Vada, who throughout the day they wait. Throughout the day they wait helplessly for one small glass of water. And this glass of water is so costly and a dear thing for them. They have to wait for the whole day for some person from a superior caste to come and give them at least a glass of water. So she has seen this people also, her own people from her Vada, and therefore the poetess Swarupa Rani, she says it is a very painful act to see people behaving in such a way. Water that has seen centuries of social injustice continues to still see a lot of discrimination and fight for its own sake. And Swarupa Rani continues to say that for her people from the Vada, it was just complete, for one glass of water, it was a complete day's wait for them. So now she also recollects that for the people of Vada, for her Vada, the water is not just H2O. It is not just a chemical formula, it is not just that chemical compound, but it is something more than that. Water is not just H2O, but it is a mighty movement for them. Like the Mahad struggle at the Chadar lake, the Chadar tank. See, even B.R. Ambedkar also had taken part in a water movement, like the Mahad struggle. Okay, he, along with other Dalits, he went into the Chadar lake, wherein the Chadar tank, or that kind of small pond kind of thing, wherein the people were not allowed to touch that water at all. So it was used for some auspicious events, like the pujas and the offerings and all those things. But Ambedkar said, what is wrong even if a person comes and drinks water? He said, we can understand that it is used for some auspicious things. But what is the mistake if we use for drinking? Yeah, apart from, let us not filthy it, let us not dirty it, for using it for bathing and washing clothes and all those things, let us not use. At least to drink water, you must be giving that water. That was a big struggle, Mahad struggle was very, very huge one. So she says, for the people of Vada, that means for the Dalits, this one is just not water, but it is a big struggle. It is a struggle of existence. It is a struggle and movement, big movement for them. So she continues saying, water embodies in it tears that are shed over several generations. A small drop of water, it has seen, it has covered, it has enclosed tears in it. So it is just not water for us at all. It has seen people from several generations struggling. Fight for a single drop of water. For this, the blood has flown like a river. For just one pot of water, one drop of water, there were lots and lots of innocent people who were killed, and blood flowed like a river. So water has seen this also. And now the Dalits, they have seen that, they have shed their blood like river. Now they are able to win a small puddle of water. You know what a puddle is? Puddle is the water that is present on the streets, wherein there are potholes everywhere here and there on the streets, and when it rains, the water covers the potholes, and that is called as a puddle of water. Not more than a bucket of water can be fitted in there. So she says, now we are able to get these puddles of water for ourselves. We have been fighting for lakes and ponds. At least we are able to get the puddle. Seeing water, she remembers. So she what all memories she gets seeing water. When she water, when she sees, she remembers her people crossing their legs and waiting innocently for one glass of water for the whole day. She says, now if I look at water, I remember our people who had weekly bathing. So they had a weekly bath. They would take bath only once in a week. Except these people, the other villagers, they enjoyed bathing 2 times a day. It was twice a day for them. But for these people, the Dalits, it was a weekly event. And that she calls as a wondrous festival. That was a wonderful festival for them. Every one day of the whole week, the whole family would come, gather, and then they would take bath. That was a festival for them. So she remembers all these things are the sufferings that we have undergone. She continues to say, looking at water, she remembers her childhood when she was forced to go and she was forced to walk along the bunds of the tanks and the canals to carry large black pots on her head with water filled in it. So they had to walk for miles together to collect at least a pot of water and then come back home. So she says, when I remember my childhood when I used to carry big black pots of water, and the pot was so heavy because they could not go and fetch water very frequently. So they used to carry big pots, and the pots were so heavy that the muscles and the veins, they were straining and bursting from her body. So it was very heavy. She was trying to carry it from her arms, on her hips, or on her head. It was a tough task for her. So she says, I remember my childhood and my suffering in this. She also continues to say, she gives one more incident of the Mallapalle houses. People, they had fought so severely for the sake of water that the Mallapalle houses, they were set on fire and the roofs came down into ashes. So that also has happened. Like we had the Suvartama who had fought in the initial scene, that we had seen Suvartama who fought for the sake of the cowherds, the cowherd boys who protested water being made dirty. So this Mallapalle also was completely burnt off into ashes. So water has seen this kind of fights also. Water that can give life, and it also can devour life. Devour means to take away, to engulf, to swallow. So she says water, the life provider, can also take off life. So this power water has. Continuing, she says, it cannot quench a parched throat, but it can become a killer tsunami wave. We are eagerly waiting for the water to come and quench our thirst. But water is not capable of doing that. On the other hand, it can turn itself into a big killer tsunami wave. That small thing that cannot quench a person's thirst, it is ready to kill the people of the village. So she continues, she says, we the poor people, the Dalits, the poor people have become the playthings in the vicious hand. Vicious means cruel. This cruel hands of water, we the poor people have become the culprits. We are the victims of all these age-old fights and humiliations because of water. She continues, she says, the water, it has the ability to turn villages into dry deserts, or sometimes even just wash them out through their floods. Water has lots of capacity. It can win people, it can damage people, it can kill people, it can give life to people. At the same time, it can turn the village into a dry desert, or there could be a flood also. All this has happened. And she says, between a wada and a village, between two states, water, it is capable of igniting struggle and strife, tension between two states, between two villages, or between a wada and a village. Between two people also, there could be different kinds of fights for the sake of water. So water is capable of all these things. It can quench thirst, it can give life, it can devour life, it can become a tsunami wave, it can make people as playthings in its hands, it can turn villages into deserts or into flooded areas, marooning them, and it can also create strife and struggle between two states and between two villages or between Vada and a village. She says it has the ability, water has the ability to make blood run like a stream. It can make blood run like a stream, like in this case, wherein the people have fought for a single drop of water. So it has the ability to kill people and make blood flow like water. At the same time, it can jump and sit quietly and innocently in Bisleri bottles. It can just remain as the purest of the purest Ganga Jal. It can remain as the pure holy water. It has all the capacity, it can manipulate, it can change from one form to the other. So this is how she continues to say that the people have taken water into different forms, and the water itself is also capable of making so many amendments in its lifestyle.